BJP hits out, alleges appeasement. Aam Aadmi Party response has nothing new in the Waqf funding.
गुजरात की कैबिनेट की बैठक में यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड के अमलीकरण के लिए एक कमेटी का गठन करना ये तय किया है।
Gujarat government confirms UCC move state all set to form committee headed by retired High Court judge. Government of India amends IT rules, social media giants to be accountable to Indian laws now. In a big move, Pandit genocide trial will be fast-tracked and the Magh massacre trial will resume after 9 years. Hello and welcome. You're watching. This is exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. Starting this edition with the day's top story. The outgoing cabinet of the Gujarat government has today moved a proposal to constitute a committee along the lines of the one in Uttarakhand under a retired High Court judge to evaluate all aspects of implementing the Uniform Civil Code in the state. Remember, assembly elections are scheduled to be held in Gujarat later this year. In May, the Uttarakhand government had announced its decision to implement UCC in the state. Similarity being that in both the states had decided just when the elections were around the corner. The same month, Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur had also announced that UCC would be brought into the state soon. Take a look at this report and then we go across to our reporters on the ground.
The Uniform Civil Code implementation has been a major issue. The BJP in its 2019 Lok Sabha poll manifesto had promised to implement the UCC if it was voted to power. Today, the Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel announced setting up a committee to implement the Uniform Civil Code in the state ahead of the polls. With this, Gujarat is the third Bharatiya Janata Party ruled state after Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand to announce the move. The Gujarat government moved a proposal today to constitute a committee in order to evaluate all aspects of implementing the Uniform Civil Code in the state. The committee will be constituted under a retired High Court judge to ascertain the matter ahead of the Gujarat Assembly polls in the state.
किस चीज को ध्यान में रख के ये डिसीजन लिया गया है? क्या पैरामीटर्स पे इसके ऊपर मंथन किया गया है? किस तरह से इसको इम्प्लीमेंट?
ये जनता की जो डिमांड हो रही थी उसी के आधार पर जो सरकार के सामने मसले आते हैं उन्हीं को ध्यान में रखते हुए इस प्रकार के निर्णय को अमली जामा देने का गुजरात की सरकार ने प्रयास किया।
ये कमेटी किस तरह से बनाई जाएगी? किसको इसमें बिठाया जाएगा? क्या हाईकोर्ट के रिटायर्ड जज जो उत्तराखंड में रखे गए हैं उसी तरह यहाँ पे भी?
बिल्कुल, उत्तराखंड में जो हुआ है उसी ही तर्ज पर यहाँ भी हाईकोर्ट के निवृत्त न्यायमूर्ति जी की अध्यक्षता में कमेटी बनेगी। 4 जितने सदस्य इसमें रहेंगे, समयावधि भी निश्चित काल में रहेगी और उन्हीं के रिकमेंडेशन के आधार पर राज्य की सरकार आगे की कार्यवाही करेगी।
Meanwhile, political face-off has again emerged over the UCC debate, with the Uniform Civil Code implementation decision been labelled by the critics as being anti-minority.
चुनाव सामने है ना, जो आंकड़े हैं इनके, जो इनका इनपुट है, सरकार नहीं बन रही है भाजपा की, वहाँ कांग्रेस की सरकार पूर्ण बहुमत से आने जा रही है। तो ऐसे में कुछ न कुछ सिगुफे छेड़ने, ये भी छेड़ दे रहे हैं। अरे अभी तक क्यों बैठे थे भाई? 5 साल 4.5 साल कुछ नहीं किया। अब जब 10 दिन 15 दिन रह गया चुनाव की अधिसूचना को, तो आप ये सी गुफा छोड़ रहे, इसे मैं इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं मानता।
All eyes are now on the BJP if they will be able to implement the UCC in states or will allow one law for all still to remain a distant dream. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Well, the VHP, meanwhile, has hailed the move by the Gujarat government and said that one law for all is the need and should have been implemented long back. Listen.
भारतीय संविधान का अनुच्छेद 44 यानी संविधान के नीति निर्देशक तत्व डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ द स्टेट पॉलिसी अनेक दशकों से इस बात की प्रतीक्षा में कि आखिरकार कोई सरकार जागेगी और देश के अंदर समान नागरिक संहिता लागू करेगी। संपूर्ण भारत के अंदर एक कानून होना चाहिए, ये हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं ने तभी से लिख दिया था, लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से पिछले 70 वर्षों में भी मात्र एक गोवा को छोड़ करके किसी ने कोई यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड नहीं बना पाया। संपूर्ण भारत में ये कानून होना चाहिए, लेकिन अगर राज्य सरकार भी इस बारे में और कोई पहल करती है तो निस्संदेह वो स्वागत योग्य कदम भी है और न्यायालय के निर्णयों की अनुपालना भी है। अनेक उच्च न्यायालय और अनेक बार माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय इस बारे में गंभीर टिप्पणियां कर चुके, अनेक बार कह चुके कि आखिरकार जब देश एक है, संविधान एक है, हमारा निशान एक है, ध्वज एक है, तो कानून दो क्यों? और ये सांप्रदायिक आधार पर विभाजन कानून का क्यों? इस कानून के न होने से आखिरकार महिलाओं और बच्चों के, खासकर बेटियों के अधिकारों पर कुठाराघात क्यों? आखिरकार क्यों एक सांप्रदायिक आधार पर उनके साथ दुराव हो रहा है और क्रिमिनल्स को जो है एस्केप मिल रहा है? लगातार इस तरह की घटनाएं माननीय न्यायालयों के संज्ञान में आई हैं और अनेक बार उन्होंने बड़ी गंभीर टिप्पणियां भी की हैं, निर्देश भी दिए हैं, लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से वो कानून नहीं बन पाया। अगर कोई सरकार अभी पहल कर रही है तो निस्संदेह वो स्वागत योग्य कदम है। समय कभी भी हो, लेकिन ये बात जरूर है कि जो अच्छा काम कहते हैं देर आए दुरुस्त आए, जब आए तब सही, लेकिन ऐसा कानून बनना चाहिए और मैं तो कहूँगा कि संपूर्ण भारत के अंदर भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन होना चाहिए। इसकी शीघ्र पहल सरकारों को करनी चाहिए। विश्व हिंदू परिषद इस बात को अनेक वर्षों से मांग करता चला आ रहा है कि आखिरकार कानूनी रूप से भारत के नागरिकों को अलग अलग श्रेणियों में क्यों बांटा जाए।
Let me bring in our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor, who's joining us from the Delhi newsroom. Abhishek, what is essentially happening is that most poll-bound states, put it in perspective, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh and now Gujarat, essentially deciding that they're going to implement UCC. It has happened in the past in the state of Goa too. But what remains the challenges?
Shawan, let me begin by saying that you cannot take away politics from this announcement, given the fact that this happens just maybe 3 days before Gujarat elections are to be announced by the Election Commission of India, and the fact that BJP has been in power in Gujarat for almost 3 decades, and Uniform Civil Code along with Ram Temple and Article 370 was an article of faith and part of BJP's life breath since its inception in 1980, and of course in the Jansangh days in its earlier avatar as well. So I think this is not new. It's not to be a surprise that a BJP government in a BJP state with such a stronghold as the BJP has in Gujarat is talking about Uniform Civil Code. I think that's a given. What is important is that there seems to be a national strategy. That's what I am getting to understand when I talk to my interlocutors in the party and the Gujarat government, that given the difficulties in terms of a national consensus that the BJP has faced despite its very strong majority at the centre in 2014 and 19, they have decided that there has to be a semblance of a consensus created. And that's why state after state of the BJP ruled, state ruled by the BJP, they are going for this kind of panel which would submit a report, take a lot of public opinion on record, and then when all these states taken together, say 12 odd BJP ruled states and another 8 or 10 which are under the influence of the BJP either through alliance or through allied parties, then they can say over a period of next 1 year or so or 2 years or so that see, out of 31 states in the country, almost 20 or 22 and hence a majority are of the opinion that there should be a uniform civil code in the country, and that's why based on this consensus and majority opinion and also the fact that this opinion making is federal in nature because the states are contributing to it. We have seen Uttarakhand doing it, we have seen Gujarat doing it now, we have seen Yogi Adityanath's government talking about it, we have seen Madhya Pradesh talking about it, and similarly other states coming on board, Karnataka also. And then the BJP can say, because A, it is consensus of the majority, and B, it is federal in nature coming as it does from the states, so any obstacle which the opposition might raise for their own political objectives or vote bank considerations should not stand, and that's why a law should be brought in which brings in uniform civil code in the country. Remember, the history goes back to 1955 when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru brought the Hindu code bills, but the other communities, the Muslims, the Christians and others, they did not want to join in that process, which is essentially seen as a part of a modern nation state. Typically every society which calls itself very modern, particularly in the West, have these kind of provisions. But for example, Turkey also has those kind of provisions if you talk about East and the Orient. But somehow in India, it has been a victim of vote bank politics. The BJP now trying to extricate it, and what has been done today in Gujarat is essentially part of that process. Shawan.
Well, in fact, Abhishek, I'll request you to stay on as we're also bringing in our colleague Priyanka, joining us from Ahmedabad. Priyanka, you've spoken to some of the leaders in Ahmedabad to understand why exactly bringing in right now. But as Abhishek was pointing out, you can't perhaps keep politics aside. What's the plan like?
Well, Shravan, as Abhishek has put it out in the macro picture of this entire matter as well, and of course we do see here in Gujarat where the UCC had been spoken about earlier as well, even during the tenure of Vijay Rupani as the Chief Minister, during the time that the Uttarakhand initiative in fact had been taken to form that committee in Uttarakhand. We had seen that the government of Gujarat had also very positively responded, and they had stated that somewhere down the line they will be taking the similar step as well. And that step seems to have been taken very strategically just weeks before the MCC would also be announced, and Purushottam Rupala in fact had been taking that press conference where he very categorically has stated that the UCC had been thought about since quite some time. This is not something that has been done just keeping in mind the elections, but also something that has been a cry for the people, of the people as well. And he had also spoken about how he had in fact compared this to the Ram temple issue as well as the other issues as well along with the UCC, and he had stated that this is something that the people had been demanding for. And of course he has also stated that the committee will be formed before the MCC is declared in the state of Gujarat, before going into elections as well, and the committee will be headed by once again a retired High Court judge. And he has stated about, he has in fact taken cognizance of the kind of statements coming to light from the opposition claiming that this is a poll strategy in fact that is being taken up by the BJP. But he has completely dismissed that and has stated that any time that this decision would have been taken would have been a controversial one. But we do see that the people on the ground also responding very positively to this, and this is something that as Abhishek very rightly pointed out is not something that is much of a surprise to anybody, except for the fact that we do see that the timeline that has been taken up with respect to announcing the UCC and the committee that will be formed to implement this, to analyze how this in fact can be implemented in the state of Gujarat.
Well, in fact, I think so. We're getting in some more reactions. We're going to play that out in a short while from now. In fact, let me also bring in Abhishek once again. Abhishek, just to put this into perspective, if you see that this has been part of the BJP's manifesto and a demand that has been made for a very, very long time, we have seen the VHP essentially responding today saying that this is a decision perhaps should have taken long back. Abhishek, if you can hear me.
I lost you there, Shawan. If you can come back again on the question.
Abhishek, I was saying that if you hear the reactions that have come in from the VHP in particular, they say that this is a decision which should have been taken long back. So what really works behind, when it comes to a decision like this? Of course, with the elections around the corner, it's been expedited. But having said that, what is it that the BJP is essentially going to take forward, especially keeping this in mind that this is going to only work out much later, at a later stage, once the committee submits its report?
Well, as I said, Shawan, so far as the VHP's comments go, this is essentially cousin talk, VHP talking to BJP. But you know what is important is that this is clearly aimed at energizing BJP's cadres ahead of Gujarat elections. I have said it's no surprise that BJP is talking about it. They could have done it at any stage. There are legal issues because of which, despite the fact that the Law Commission was asked to look into the possibility of bringing a uniform civil code, and it's been 2 years, perhaps more, and it's not been possible in Delhi. I think that's why the BJP has taken this circuitous route where wherever they are in power in states, they would be setting up these panels which would be broad-basing public opinion. The entire exercise itself would involve people from the academia, from the general masses, across the spectrum. And then these reports essentially would be presented as a sort of consensus across the country and would also be federal in nature. And that's the reason why this whole exercise is being carried out. Apart from, of course, the fact that in the case of Gujarat, like in the case of Uttarakhand, this is aimed at energizing, revving up the core constituency, the cadres who might be, for example, in the case of Gujarat, the party has been in power for 28 years. 17 of those years were under Narendra Modi. And for the BJP to again and again harp on the issue of development, just for the sake of argument, the cadres might have got bored. Of the 3 articles of faith for the BJP, Article 370 has been achieved, Ram Temple has been achieved on its way to completion. UCC is the only one left. So obviously, BJP would want to milk the momentum going into the process and then ultimately, of course, possibly ahead of the 2024 elections, take a call on whether to have a rollout of UCC nationally or perhaps to keep it post the campaign. What is important is that as of now, in the case of Gujarat, it serves 2 purposes. It sort of energizes, galvanizes the core constituency and the cadres, and also in the larger national strategy, it provides the BJP an opportunity to broad-base the consensus building, and then when these reports come back, they can say that this is both a national and a federal demand to have uniform civil code in the country, and that's why perhaps they are bringing in the law whenever they do that.
Well, in fact, Abhishek, Gujarat's Home Minister, who announced this soon after that cabinet meeting, has just spoken to the media. Let's listen.
हर एक नागरिक को एक समान कानून हो, इसमें गलत क्या है? आज गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री आदरणीय श्री भूपेंद्र भाई पटेल के अध्यक्षस्थान में कैबिनेट की जो बैठक मिली, वो बैठक में गुजरात कैबिनेट ने मुख्यमंत्री श्री के मार्गदर्शन में यह ऐतिहासिक फैसला लिया है, यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को पूरी तरह से उसका सर्वे हो, उसकी संभावना किस प्रकार की है उसको अच्छी तरह से नीचे तक जांच की जाए। उसके लिए गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री को संपूर्ण सत्ता दी गई है कि ये कमेटी वो दर्ज करे और एक कमेटी बनेगी और ये कमेटी आने वाले दिनों में गुजरात में सर्वे कर पे इसमें निर्णय आगे लिया जाएगा।
कितना जल्दी?
ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हर एक कार्यकर्ता, जब मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी में जुड़ा था तब से भगवान राम लल्ला का मंदिर कब बने, ये सपना देख के भारतीय जनता पार्टी का काम कर रहा था। देश के विकास में हम सहभागी बन रहे थे। इसी तरह से दफा 370 के लिए भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी और देश के करोड़ों लोग यही आशा के साथ भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे एक विश्वास के साथ, और ये 370 का भी काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी द्वारा किया गया। और आज जो यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड है, मेरा ये मानना है कि ये इससे अच्छा कोई विषय हो ही नहीं सकता। यह विषय किसी को, सभी समाज के सभी वर्गों को एक समान कानून का हक मिले, ये प्रयासों से मुख्यमंत्री जी ने ये यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड की संभावनाओं को जांच करने के लिए एक कमेटी बनाई है, ये गठन किया है। मेरा ये मानना है कि सबको साथ में मिलकर इसमें मुख्यमंत्री जी को अभिनंदन देना चाहिए। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हम सब जानते हैं कि इलेक्शन की वजह से और कहीं ना कहीं आज तक समाज को एक करने वाली जो बात होती है, एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत की बात करके वो विषयों पे हम आगे चलते हैं।
Well, to focus now to the other big story that we are tracking. A fresh controversy has been brewing in the national capital after an RTI report revealed that the Delhi government gave more than 62 crore rupees to the Waqf board in just 1 year. A right to information query by activist Ajay Bose revealed that Kejriwal government in Delhi has been funding the Waqf board ever since it got elected to power. From 2015 to 2019, Aam Aadmi Party government allotted funds to the tune of 1 crore rupees to about 9 crore rupees, while for the last financial year 2021 and 2022, it stood at a whopping 62 crore rupees. Take a look at this detailed report.
An RTI response has shown that the Delhi government under Arvind Kejriwal granted the Delhi Waqf board more than rupees 101 crores of public funds in the last 7 years. Meanwhile, in just the past year, the AAP government has granted the Waqf board more than 62 crores. RTI activist Ajay Bose inquired about the grant and aid received in the office of the Delhi Waqf board since 2015. In the response received, it was found that the Delhi government, led by Arvind Kejriwal, granted crores of rupees to the Delhi Waqf board. In the financial year 2015-16, the Delhi government granted rupees 1.25 crore to the Waqf board. In the subsequent financial years 2016-17, 17-18 and 18-19, the number went on increasing to rupees 1.37 crore, rupees 5 crores and rupees 8.85 crores.
Now, BJP has hit hard at Aam Aadmi Party government, stating that is an appeasement politics of Aam Aadmi Party government. They are on one side, they are trying to woo Hindu voters. On the other side, the appeasement politics could clearly be seen where they are not paying Hindus and Granthis. So this is a fresh controversy which has erupted in national capital.
Union Minister Anurag Thakur lashed out at the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, calling him a symbol of anarchy.
जो राम मंदिर का विरोध करते थे और जिन पार्टी के नेता खुले में आकर हिंदू देवी देवताओं का अपमान करते थे, जिनको अपने मंत्री को मंत्री पद से हटाना पड़ा, वो अरविंद केजरीवाल जी अराजकता के प्रतीक हैं, फर्जी बातें करने वाले हैं। और मैं तो ये कहना चाहता हूँ, ये तो नया प्रोपेगेंडा शगुफा छोड़ दें ताकि इनके भ्रष्टाचार की कहानी पे ज़्यादा चर्चा ना हो।
Speaking to Republic TV, AAP Minister Kailash Gehlot said that the BJP is deliberately trying to politicize the issue.
दिल्ली वक्फ बोर्ड को 101 करोड़ रुपए दिए, आपने बताइए इसमें आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
वक्फ बोर्ड अपना काम कर रही है, उससे क्या?
आपको लगता है कि पैसे देने मतलब जायज़ थे, और जितना पैसा मतलब आपने उनको दिया है, बीजेपी वाले बोलते जितना पैसा यमुना पे साफ करने में लग जाते तो अच्छा होता?
वक्फ बोर्ड को पहली बार दिल्ली सरकार ने पैसा दिया है। जब से वक्फ बोर्ड बना है, चाहे वो किसी की कांग्रेस थी, चाहे कांग्रेस की सरकार थी, चाहे बीजेपी की सरकार थी, उस टाइम भी वक्फ बोर्ड को पैसा दिया गया है। और जो वक्फ बोर्ड की प्रॉपर्टीज़ हैं वो अपना पैसा भी जनरेट करती हैं।
At a time when Kejriwal has demanded images of Lakshmi and Ganesha on currency, the Waqf board funding controversy has raised questions for Arvind Kejriwal. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Let me bring in my colleague Tanisha, who's joining us from the Delhi newsroom. Tanisha, just walk us through the details that you're picking up from this RTI response. We've already put out the response that come in from the Aam Aadmi Party. But what's the illegality to begin with? Because the Bharatiya Janata Party is trying to equate this with the amount that the government essentially could have actually used this for perhaps improving the conditions of Yamuna. But having said that, can there be any correlation?
Shravan, to understand the same, let's first understand the timeline of events that took place. So it was the RTI activist Ajay Bose, who's from Nagpur, who raised this query about where did how much funds were put into the Waqf board. And soon after he filed this RTI query, the response that he received was quite scathing, where it was said that since the Delhi government, since the Kejriwal government had come to power, it had been funding the Waqf board from then. So it was in 2015 that the Kejriwal government had come to power, and now it's 2020. So almost in a span of couple of years, the total amount that was paid to the Waqf board was about about 100 crores. And it is now, see, it's not just in lakhs, but it's in crores. Now, the BJP has been alleging that the money that the Kejriwal government had spent on the Waqf board, they could have spent it on Yamuna, in the cleaning of Yamuna, because as we have been seeing, very generic scenes, very common scenes have been coming out in the open, where we see froth floating over the Yamuna river. And remember, this is the festive season that's going on. It is the Chhat Puja season where people take holy dip into the river, and froth, toxic foam floating onto the river is quite toxic for the common people. Now, BJP has been alleging that the amount, and it was not just in lakhs but in crores. So the crores that was paid in a span of 7 years by the Kejriwal government to the Waqf board could have been spent on better things, like the cleaning of Yamuna or on making up of roads. That is what the blame game, the slugfest, has been about in the national capital. Shavan.
Well, thank you very much, Tanisha, for getting us the latest details. Let's also play out some of the reactions that are coming in.
एक तरफ दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री माननीय अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने भारत सरकार से मांग किया है कि लक्ष्मी गणेश जी की तस्वीर जो है फोटो पे लगाई जाए, और दूसरी तरफ लक्ष्मी गणेश की पूजा करने वाले ब्राह्मणों को कोई सुविधा नहीं है, अर्चकों को, मंदिर के पुजारियों को कोई सुविधा नहीं है, और उसके उलट वक्फ बोर्ड को 7 सालों में सैकड़ों करोड़ रुपया देने का काम किया है। आखिर ये दोहरी नीति, ये भेदभाव हिंदुओं के साथ क्यों, सनातन धर्मियों के साथ क्यों? क्या सिर्फ हिंदू सनातन धर्म चुनाव के समय सिर्फ बयानबाजी, भावनाओं के साथ खेलने का एक मौका मात्र है? यह बड़ा ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। मेरी मांग है दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी से कि जिस प्रकार से वक्फ बोर्ड को सैकड़ों करोड़ रुपया दिया, कम से कम जो देवी देवताओं की पूजा करता है, जो सनातन धर्म को राह दिखाता है, ऐसे अर्चक पुजारियों को, मंदिर के पुजारियों को, जो आर्थिक रूप से कमज़ोर आश्रम है, मंदिर है, उसको भी कम से कम उतने 100 करोड़ रुपया, 100 जितना आपने वक्फ बोर्ड को दिया है उतना हिंदू सनातन धर्मियों पर भी खर्च करिए। ये हमारी मांग है अखिल भारत हिंदू महासभा, संत महासभा की तरफ से।
On the other side, Government of India amends IT rules, social media giants to be accountable to Indian laws now. News and updates continue on the other side.
It's hybrid by nature, a silent predator. The new breed rises above all others. A new breed of SUVs, the advanced Grand Vitara, rule every road.
And for now, moving on to more news coming in from across the country. Taking stock of the incident, the DGCA has ordered a detailed probe into the cause and suitable follow-up action that shall be taken in relation to the flight operation with regard to the Indigo flight. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has also ordered officials to submit a report into the incident after looking into it. The air quality of the national capital continues to deplete. Now, the latest forecast shows that the air quality will remain in very poor category for the next 3 days.
पूरे सांस फूलते रहते हैं। फिलहाल गर्मी दुनिया भर का प्रदूषण है, प्रदूषण बहुत है। हाँ, पूरी आँख में जलन होती है, हर चीज़ होती है, इसीलिए।
BJP's IT cell head Amit Malviya said that he's decided to file criminal and civil proceedings against news website The Wire and alleged that they forged documents with a view to malign and tarnish his reputation. The matter pertains to meta stories which were retracted by the news website.
When this news agency says Britain drops behind India to become the world's 6th largest economy, the former British colony jumped past the UK in 3 months. to become the 5th largest economy. They are describing India after 75 as a former colony.
The British interaction with us was only 190 years out of a total history of 7,000 years. So if we reclaim what is legitimately ours and shed aside the colonial mindset, that's something that should be celebrated. But these people are not accepting that.
And welcome this Saturday evening. Let's begin the 6:30 p.m. live and breaking with the headlines.
गुजरात की कैबिनेट की बैठक में यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड के अमलीकरण के लिए एक कमेटी का गठन करना ये तय किया है।
Gujarat government confirms UCC moves state to constitute a panel headed by retired High Court judge to look into all aspects of the UCC.
Entire approach towards rulemaking is really to make the internet more safe, more trusted and more accountable for the 120 crore digital Nagriks.
Government of India amends IT rules for social media, move to make big tech accountable for Indian laws. A massive political fight over Waqf board's funds as RTI response suggests over 100 crore given to Waqf in 7 years in Delhi.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी, दिल्ली में मौलवियों को तो आप 18,000 रुपये साल का देते हो, मंदिर के पुजारियों को, गुरुद्वारे के ग्रंथियों को, चर्च के पादरियों को भी क्या आप 18,000 रुपये प्रति वर्ष देने का काम शुरू कर रहे हो?
BJP hits out, alleges appeasement. AAP response says nothing new in the Waqf funding. And a big move, Nadu massacre trial will resume after 9 years. Pandit genocide trial to be fast-tracked. All right, we are getting a breaking news development from down south, from Tamil Nadu. In fact, 3 rocket launcher bombs have been found near an abandoned army training center in Singaperumala temple area in Chengalpet district. Police officials immediately rushed to the spot along with bomb squad. The bombs have been located and investigation is underway to determine the state of the bombs, whether they are live and they need to be defused. This is in Chengalpet district and the area is Singaperumal temple, and this is near an army training center, suggesting that it's possible that these could be dumped out of army ordnance. But how and why these were outside the training center, that's something which we need to be investigated. In the pictures you can see those rocket launcher bombs, and in the picture we are seeing investigators reaching the spot after they were located there, and the local police present as well. Let's go to Varshini. She's joining us live from Chennai. Varshini, over to you. More details. How come these bombs were found outside of the army training center, even if they belong to the army perhaps?
Well, if you see, these 3 rocket launcher bombs have been found in the foothills of a small hill near Singaperumal Kovil, and this Singaperumal Kovil area belongs in the Chengalpet district, and this army training center is located in Amandapuram, and this one has been not active for the past 1 year. It has not been functioning, so it is an abandoned army training center, and this could be seen as bombs that were present during the training camps that were happening in that training center. And some locals who've been shepherds who've been there with their cattle have come across these bombs that were lying on the ground, and they immediately informed the police, and Police from the Tamram Commissionerate had immediately rushed to the spot, and they have taken the bomb squad along with them as well. And the bomb squad officials are also trying to identify the bombs and see if they belong to the army training center or if they are bombs that have been brought from somewhere else, and if they are still live or if they have been diffused. Are they active or inactive bombs are also being currently determined by the bomb squad officials. But if you see, when it comes to an army training center, they have all the details and records of every single equipment and every single thing that belongs to them. Therefore, they'll have to now corroborate whether if this one belonged to the army training center when it was functioning, and